You know, they say you can't win them all, but so far the defense is on track too. So there's that. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Lombardi Time Brews, where I'm your host, John Delray, again in location in Titletown, and I'm going to apologize right up front if there's more ambient noise today, because it's like 5 degrees cooler today, and Titletown is bumping. Just more people, and apparently it's freaking landscaping day here or something, and they're still working on constructions on some of the condos behind me, like this time on the front side of the building. So just, sorry if things are a bit noisier today, but I'm still going to give you all the news from what wound up being public practice number 5, overall practice number 6 for the Green Bay Packers. And it was a semi eventful one, lots of up and down play. I mean, overall, the defense certainly won the day, especially in team reps. But then in the one-on-one drills, like the pass rush drills or the one-on-one wide receivers versus corners, then I would say the offense won the day. Love didn't have his best day. I'm just going to say it up front, and I'll dive into more into that later. But this was not his best day. And the other one that everyone's checking around about right now is Anders Carlson, the rookie kicker from Auburn. Yeah, no, not his best day again either. Although he did have a positive percentage for his kicks this time. He was over 50% on the day. So again, that's something. And coinciding with that, Mason Crosby happened to drop on Instagram today, right as Carlson was missing stuff right before. I didn't get the exact timing, but Mason Crosby did drop on Instagram that he's fully healthy, and then he showed a video of him drilling a 60-yard kick. Coincidence? I don't think so, y'all. So, one thing I want to address real quick just before we get going is yes, Peyton Manning was at practice yesterday. Supposedly, he was not there talking to Jordan Love about the show Quarterbacks, the new hit on Netflix. He was there talking about a media project with Matt LaFleur, but he did meet with Love before practice as well as met with the entire team after practice. So, Peyton Manning in Green Bay yesterday. So let's get back to talking about today, the injuries of the day. Of course, the still like current ones, right? The ones we know about, the dudes who aren't practicing now and or really anytime soon. Grant Dubose, Stokes, Rashawn Gary, and of course Tavian Wicks. So no news there. However, one addition to the injury list today was Jake Hansen, the backup center and disaster at right guard last year. He was out today with an elbow injury. Now, that could help explain a couple of the transactions that the Packers have done over the last couple of days. Maybe Hansen is losing some stock. Maybe Myers is losing some stock. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But the Packers today, after signing James Empty with their open roster spot yesterday, James Empty, he was signed to the team yesterday with their open roster spot. Today, they created 2 more spots by releasing Chuck Filiaga, the interior offensive lineman, more so guard. I believe Minnesota off the top of my head. And then Cameron McDonald, UDFA out of Florida State, who is kind of an H-back tight end. A lot of people were excited about him when the Packers first picked him up, but unfortunately his tenure ends now. And in their place, they did sign Cole Schneider, who was actually at training camp last year with the Packers and then eventually got hurt and released. But he's back. He spent some time in the USFL. He's back in Green Bay. And then they also signed Andre Miller from Maine, a former tight end, now turned wide receiver. And that dude is big. So we'll see if he can do anything in his brand new number 16 Packers jersey. Players of the day today, I'm just going to say this up front. It was kind of tough today to pick someone who was consistently good throughout the day. There were flash plays, sure, but sometimes some of the flash plays would happen and it would look really good. And then 3 plays later, the exact same guy would get caught in a bad position. Well, that doesn't make you a player of the day. So there was a lot of questions today. I kind of struggled with this. Ultimately, I'm going to say Danny Etling was one of the players of the day, certainly recovering over his very poor day the other day. Devontae Wyatt had another very strong practice creating pressure. And then Malik Heath / Bo Melton. I'm going to lump both of them in because they both did great work with Danny Etling in the reserve strings, specifically in like the desperation play portion of the practice. In terms of individual plays of the day, there was one where Danny Eltling found Bo Melton. Bo Melton, again, I'm telling you, I think his chances are better than some think. But he dropped back, found Bo Melton, who beat Carrington Valentine, of course, at the play of the day yesterday, for a 35-yard touchdown during some of the desperation drills that they do. And what I mean by a desperation drill is it's not quite like a 2-minute drill, but like they set up hypothetical situations, okay? Like today, it was they put the ball on the 35-yard line and put 14 seconds on the clock. And of course, the goal for the offense is to score a touchdown or wind up kicking a field goal, get points somehow in 14 seconds. Well, the Etling to Melton connection, that did it quicker than 14 seconds. Touchdown there. Another great play of the day that I'm actually going to display here was Romeo Doubs. Absolutely, I believe the internet is saying Randy Mossing. Jay Alexander leaping up above him, coming down with the ball from Jordan Love. That was during one-on-ones for wide receivers versus corners. Another huge notable event that happened today in terms of plays was Sean Ryan. During one-on-ones for pass rushers, Sean Ryan stood up Kobe Wooden 5 times. He was 5-0 against Kobe Wooden. Now, here's the thing. Wooden, I'm going to talk about later when I address the viewer requests. Wooden's good. Like, this was the first day that I watched Wooden do reps and just kind of went, dang, that guy can move. Because his moves were aggressive and they were fast. But in these one-on-one drills, Sean Ryan was able to kind of control him throughout every single rep. So huge kudos to Sean Ryan. And then Devontae Wyatt. In the same drill, they put Devontae Wyatt against some of the bottom tier offensive linemen on the roster, and straight up, it wasn't fair. Like Devontae Wyatt, I think it lasted for 2 reps. One, he just pushed both of them through, like used the speed, kind of got around. The second one, I think, don't quote me on this, I think it was Gene DeLance was the offensive lineman he was going up against. He straight up destroyed the offensive lineman he was going against. I'm not kidding. This wasn't just like a shove. This wasn't a beat. He destroyed that young man. It just wasn't fair. So kudos to Devontae Wyatt. In terms of the starters today, the starting lineup, the ones at least for the offense, that would be David Bakhtiari, Elton Jenkins, and then surprise of the day, Zach Tom. Zach Tom got the starter reps at center today. Now, Josh Myers eventually took some later with the ones, but Zach Tom got him first. John Ryan Jr. at right guard, and then Yash at right tackle. Rest of the offense, Jordan Love, Aaron Jones, Luke Musgrave, Josiah DeGuara, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, kind of as it's been as of late. Quickly in after them was Jaden Reed and A.J. Dillon. Defensive side of the ball, Wyatt Clark Slayton, Preston, Quay, Campbell, Luke Van Ness. Got the starters reps today on defense. That's another new development. He has gotten it before, but kind of switched around with Hollins. Today was more consistent that LVN was with the ones. And then, of course, Jair Ford Savage and Razul. Let's talk Jordan Love. This wasn't his best day, okay? Now, Saturday might have been the practice of his life. Now, yesterday, he had some true highlight throws. Like yesterday was at least of the caliber of Saturday. Today looked like the first couple practices again. This was, I don't want to say a step back, but the man was under pressure on every throw. And the accuracy was just off. Today's not a particularly windy day, so he doesn't have that excuse like he did the first day of camp. Not that it's an excuse. That sounded harsh. I'm sorry. But he just was off. Like this just, he wasn't finding guys well as he was running around. There was one throw in particular where Doubs was kind of running towards the end zone. I think this was in a red zone rep. And Love kind of evades the pressure, rolls out right, and lofts it while still under pressure. But it was way too low and in front of Doubs. He couldn't get back to it. It was just that kind of day. There was also during the desperation portion of practice where Love took the snap, and Jaden Reed, I believe, was the receiver on it, if I'm remembering correctly. Receiver's not important in this context. But he rolls out, evades the pressure, and then it's just one of those, screw it, he's down there somewhere. Except he wasn't where Love threw it. That was kind of like the whole problem. So, again, it's hard to say stuff like, well, his footwork was bad. It's hard to say stuff like he was, his motion was bad. No, the dude was under duress all day, made poor decisions, and then wasn't accurate. Like that's the sum of it all here. I will say too, he did show his mobility more again. In fact, they even called a couple options. Like we're going back to college. Called a couple option plays for Love, um, and he did show his mobility. Like he's quick, so there was some yards gained through options there as well. In if you care about the net throws, well, here's one for Jordan Love. Yes, he did on the run hit the net. So if you're if you're one of those Chicago believers that says only Fields can hit nets, here's the proof. And then beyond that, Alex Magoo also wound up hitting a net. Danny Etling hit a net. The only one that I can't confirm didn't hit one was Sean Clifford. I couldn't see the way that he was turning for some of his stuff because there was just stuff in the way. But I don't believe he hit the net at all today. But hey, 3 out of 4 quarterbacks ain't bad. In terms of the other quarterbacks, Danny Etling really stood out in the desperation portion of practice, like I was talking about earlier. He was incredibly precise, hitting Malik Heath 3 times during the desperation drills. He hit the 35-yard touchdown to Melton. This was a good day for Danny Etling, no doubt about it. For Alex Magoo, he moved with a lot of aggression. It's kind of interesting to watch him when he rolls back and then turns to run. His shoulders move like it's just a very aggressive motion in his body. So he rolled out. His mobility was on display today as well. He does have some speed. There was one play where he rolled out for play action, but just straight up got stood up by a defender. It unequivocally would have been a loss unless he could have gotten rid of it in a real game situation. But still, you see the speed for all of these quarterbacks that the Packers do possess. And then Clifford, honestly, Clifford just couldn't get anything going today. Just nothing. Today was not a strong Sean Clifford day at all. Moving on to your requests. Let's cover Adumagoo first. I got nothing. Again, and I'm sorry. I don't think he's getting many reps, even with the deeper strings. I think he's just observing a lot because I keep on looking for him and just nada. Um, Anders Carlson wound up being 5 for 8 on the day. I did say he was over 50%, and 5 of 8 is get over 50%. So he did get there. Now, the interesting thing today, I said the other day when he had a really bad day that I believe it was Saturday, that his whole kicking motion was just off. Today, it didn't look like his kicking motion was off. The ball just wouldn't go in where it was going, like where he wanted it to go. And sometimes, I hate to even say this because it sounds dumb, but like the misses weren't so off today that they were on Saturday. They were just normal misses, not bad misses. So, yeah, take it for what it's worth. Interesting of note, though, both Pat O'Donnell and Dan Whalen held for him. So maybe there is a little punter competition brewing. But O'Donnell, I would say, did it a touch more, but Dan Whalen certainly had his turn in terms of holding for Carlson. If you're wondering about the distances, again, this is training camp. Everyone does the best. If you go on Twitter and look at like Huber, Schneidman, any of them reporting on Twitter, we may be like a yard off from each other. What it is. But Carlson missed from a distance of 42. Then he hit from 44 and 46. Missed from a distance of 47. Made from 47, 52, and 50, and then missed his last attempt at 50, resulting in a 5 of 8 day. By the way, I don't think I gave you Jordan Love's numbers. It looks as though overall on the day he was 6 of 14. Just want to throw that out there quick. In terms of wide receiver 6, that job, I would say Malik Heath had his strongest day today. Three catches from Danny Etling during the red zone and desperation drills. One of them was even back to back. Like they just straight up walked up, called the exact same play twice, and Etling hit Heath on quick slants twice, and the Packers defense just straight up couldn't stop it. So that was kind of cool. And then of course Melton had his 35-yard touchdown. So Watts also did have a catch. If you're wondering about Deuce Watts, he had a catch from Etling in the desperation timing as well. But those are your standouts. Cody Crest too. Maybe I got more receiver notes than I thought of, but Cody Crest, there was one, I forget the quarterback, but it was not a great throw. It was sailed far above his head, and yet Crest went up there and got it. And that was an impressive one that got some oohs and ahs from the crowd. Also, I know he's not going to be wide receiver 6, but Jaden Reed, that man is fast. They did another reverse today. Holy crap. Like, significantly faster than what we've even seen sometimes on film in college, or certainly what his 40 time down. I know there were some injury things there, but holy buckets, y'all. Jaden Reed is going to be a very, very fun gadget in this offense. In terms of running back 3, Lou Nichols had a wow moment today. He got a carry, rolled out left, and that man stiff-armed, I think it was Keandre Thomas, into oblivion. Like, this is like Derrick Henry style stiff-arm. He was trucking, and then poof, and Keandre Thomas went to the ground, and Lou Nichols just kept going. So that was a very, very impressive run. I will say, though, Nichols needs to continue to learn how to catch. Other than that, like Tyler Goodson in the role, Emmanuel Wilson had a nice run with the reserve strings and their desperation time. So kudos to him for that. Tyler Goodson, I really didn't see anything of note today, nor did I see anything of note with Patrick Taylor. In terms of Wooden and Brooks, Wooden is fast. That's my note today. I mentioned it earlier. His spin moves are aggressive. Everything that he does when attacking an offensive lineman, today at least, came off quick and aggressive, intense. It was really impressive to see. Now, there was one rep in pass rush, I believe it was him at least, where he was kind of like mid-move. I think he was trying like a spin, or at least was trying to like push the O-line out, maybe to cut inside. But either way, he was turning, and the offensive lineman caught him, I think a little light-footed mid-turn, and just pancaked him right over, because I think Wooden lost his footing. So something to keep in mind, being overly quick in pass rush isn't always a good thing if the offensive lineman can just like push you over because you lose your balance. So something to bear in mind. Brooks, I didn't see do much standout today. Tight ends, Musgrave is continuing to get reps with the ones like every single time. And today he did catch a touchdown. Jordan Love did have one touchdown today in red zone work. It says Love was kind of evading pressure off to his left, and he stepped up into the pocket and then just did a little like flick to Musgrave, who happened to be all alone in the end zone, and pulled that down for a touchdown, Packers. Other than that, tight ends, nothing super notable today. Tyler Davis did get some reps with the ones again, so enjoy. Other than that, Cox, I know we've been waiting for news about Brenton Cox Jr., the UDFA out of Edge, and out of Florida. I finally have something to say about Brenton Cox. He had a fantastic rep in the pass rush one-on-ones. I'm sure going to check my notes here. It was against Luke Tenuta. Cox's speed was on display. He got the outside on Tenuta, and it absolutely would have been a sack. So that was the first time in training camp that I've seen Brenton Cox really like make an outstanding play. And then in terms of the others that you've asked about, Jones and Agbare, Toure, didn't really see anything from that collective today. And then the last individual that I've been getting a lot of questions about has been Devondre Campbell. Campbell today and every day, I'm just going to say this on the whole to kind of answer it in totality. He's having a good camp. Now, it's hard to say because even with pads on, we're not doing full-on tackling yet. So how do you judge an inside linebacker that can't truly make splash plays and bring people to the ground, right? I mean, he did have an interception on Love. I think it was in practice number 2. It was on a tip ball. He got the pick. And there have been a number of plays where the offense designs a run play, and then Campbell is the one in the backfield who would make a tackle if that's what we were doing, but we're not. So, I see what I'm saying? Overall, he looks quicker than he did last year. There have been a number of times that Campbell has been all over the ball carrier. It's just not resulting in anything yet because that's not where we are in camp yet. So, is he going to be all pro form again? I don't know. You certainly hope so. Is he going to be last year again, where he was an above average inside linebacker? Certainly, just not to the level that he was the year prior. Maybe. I think a safe bet is maybe somewhere in between, too. I don't think you can expect a player to replicate an all-pro season. But I think it is reasonable to expect that somewhere between those 2 seasons may be where he rests. And maybe that's okay for the defense. But we certainly want an improvement over last year. So that's it for today. Now, tomorrow, no practice tomorrow. I believe it's just going to be a walkthrough. Either way, it's not a public practice. And then Thursday is indeed a public practice, so you will see me again Thursday afternoon, giving you the recap from Packers training camp. Thanks for joining me today. Like I said, I'll be back Thursday. Drop comments down below about what you want to see or what questions you got, whatever. I'll have some time tomorrow to hop on and answer your comments. So thanks so much for tuning in to Lombardi Time Brews. As always, go Pack Go.